Let's talk art. Now, in Colorado, the fine state of Colorado, where they've had a Democrat administration for many a long year now, very much a solid Democrat state. At the state capitol building, there's a portrait. It's actually by a British artist called Sarah Boardman of Donald Trump. It's hanging up there because the local Republicans raised $10,000 to have it painted and hung. But so fed up, so disappointed is the president with this. Look at it. It doesn't look awfully like him, does it? Anyway, so disappointed is the president with this portrait that he has prevailed upon the Democrat, the radical left governor, Jared Polis, to take it down. And Jared has said, I'll do that. I'll take it down. So it's going to get taken down. What Trump is moaning about is that previously they had a great picture, apparently, of President Barack Obama. As Donald said, that was wonderful. But this one of me is truly the worst. He says Sarah Boardman seems like she was a good artist in the past, but it looks like she's lost her talent. But why is he so upset with this picture? Well, I can see some reasons, but let's have a look at it from the artistic point of view and talk about portraits with the People's Art critic, Estelle Lovatt. Welcome, Estelle.
Thanks, Kevin. Hi.
Well, first of all, I can understand why Trump doesn't love this portrait. I mean, it actually makes him look a lot younger than he is, but it's an odd picture, sort of fat-faced, doesn't really look like him. It's not a particularly good likeness, is it?
No, and it's interesting, when you said he looked fed up, he did look fed up mentally and emotionally looking at this painting, but also he looked like he was overfed in the painting. You know, don't forget, in Trump's mind, Trump is like the perfect muse, and he wanted his portrait to tell part of his life story, to show him and all his glorious victories so that we could almost hear him when we're looking at him. But we're not absorbed by this painting because it does unfortunately look rather like Alec Baldwin than it does Donald Trump, you know, and Donald Trump would like something more like his mugshot, where he's seen as more heroic in stance, rather than this overweight oaf, let's say.
Because what about I mean, you know, these people who have, he says nobody likes a painting, a bad painting of themselves, as if all of us have paintings made of us. But he does say pictures as well, so we all seem photographs we don't like. But Winston Churchill, didn't he? He once had an official portrait of him burnt. Which was an act of artistic vandalism. What is it about these national leaders that they become so sensitive when it comes to their portraits?
But, you know, big egos. It's interesting. With Winston Churchill, Graham Sutherland, you know, one of our greatest artists, painted him. And after Winston Churchill passed away, his wife destroyed it. Apparently she burnt it because Churchill disliked the fact he was painted as a fat and jowly old man. And Churchill very sarcastically said it's a remarkable example of modern art, but Churchill, we know, disliked modern art. But then also it reminds me of the portrait of the late Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, by Stuart Pearson Wright, which is the Duke as an elderly man with a bare chest, hairy chest, a bit of crest at the end of his finger, and a blue bottle. And apparently the Duke looked at it and he said, "Godzooks." And the artist said, "Do you think I've caught a likeness?" And the Duke apparently says, "I bloody well hope not."
Well, you know, but I'm looking at the picture, those two pictures. So Donald Trump at Colorado State Building is hung next to Barack Obama. The Barack Obama picture does look quite flattering, but both of them, you know, they do look kind of almost ritualistic, you know, sort of just pictures that you had, kind of portraits you see hanging at airports. So neither of them, I would say, are exactly brilliant works of art. They're more kind of, what's the word? They're like official portraits, aren't they?
Yeah, they're supposed to flatter, whether or not you think Sarah Boardman has flattered. I mean, you know, she's remained uncontroversial. She hasn't made Trump look either happy or sad. Is he pleased? Is he angry? We know he's not tweeting, but he lacks sort of any emotion, which perhaps distresses Trump, especially when you think about that painting that he's got hanging in Mar-a-Lago. It's a big portrait of him, and he's wearing athletic whites. He looks very athletic, which we know is not Trump either, you know. But it's interesting because it's going to pull the crowds in to go and have a look at the other 45-odd portraits that have been painted, because it's the same as when the Mona Lisa was stolen in 1911 and people queued and went to look at where it had once hung. If painting wasn't even there, so it will do good footfall for Denver. But this is a man, you know, you're dealing with a man who wants to be included in Mount Rushmore. So no, he's not going to like this portrait. But the portrait, you've got to think about the context and the process and the creative activity. And actually, Sarah Boardman, although her portraits aren't going to change the course of art history, she's a very well practiced artist who has mastered old master painting techniques. She's award winning. Whether you like them or not is something else. But to a man like Donald Trump, who his personality and character is full of self-importance and he's full of himself, to see himself flat on a 2D image that he doesn't like, he's going to hang it behind, he's going to turn it round, or like he did, he's had it removed. It's removed and it's put in long-term storage.
Yeah, they didn't have to remove it. There's this radical left governor, as Trump called him, Jared Polis, agreed to take it down. Prior to that, President Trump said that Jared should be ashamed of himself. Now, when this portrait was first unveiled, it was back in 2019.
Trump was a bit chubbier then, right?
Well, I guess he was. He was certainly younger, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's the one good thing about this. You know, she has made him look younger, so he must be pleased about that. But as I say, it's more Alec Baldwin than Donald Trump.
Yes. Well, she actually, when it was first put up, she posted pictures of it online and said it was a great day. And then she wrote, "Please remain respectful. This is about portraiture, not politics." Well, I think Sarah's being a bit naive there. It's a kind of a mixture of both, isn't it? And in the end, Donald Trump hasn't been very respectful to her work of art. I mean, we haven't got her on the phone now, but how do you think she'd be feeling about this?
Well, you know, is any sort of publicity good, or is it bad, as we know the wise words? But I think people are going to agree. It's he's elegantly dressed in his usual suit and red tie and white shirt. It's not a lot like him, but would a portrait ever look like him? As I say, look at the one of him in Mar-a-Lago dressed in his tennis whites.
Yeah.
That doesn't look like him either. And what he sees in the mirror, you know, it's a bit like Dorian Gray.
Yeah. The portrait of Donald Trump. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you alerted me to this story, and as soon as I looked it up, I thought, oh, what's Trump moaning about now? And as soon as I saw that portrait, I said, well, I can understand why he doesn't like that this much. But there you go. Listen, Estelle, good to talk to you again. Got to go now because we're going to the news, but always a pleasure, and come on again soon. That's Estelle Lovatt, the People's Art Critic, on the art that Donald Trump hates.